My beloved child, come closer and listen with your heart, not just with your ears. I speak to you now with gentleness, with truth, and with a love that has watched you since before your first breath. God says, your father is a great man. Not because the world applauded him loudly. Not because his name was written in shining letters. But because greatness is measured in places the world rarely looks. Your father's greatness was built quietly, in long days and longer nights. It was shaped in sacrifice, in responsibility he never ran from, in burdens he carried without asking for praise. Many people will never know what he gave up so that you could stand where you stand today. Many will never see the battles he fought silently, the fears he swallowed, the tears he hid so you would feel safe. God says, your father is a great man because he chose duty even when his heart was tired. There were moments when he wanted rest, when he wanted someone to ask him how he was really doing. But he kept moving forward. He kept showing up. He kept providing, protecting, and holding the family together even when he himself felt like he was falling apart inside. You may have seen him as strict at times. You may have felt he did not understand you. You may have wondered why his words were few, why his emotions were hidden behind silence. But hear this truth now, his silence was never emptiness. It was weight. It was responsibility. It was love expressed in action instead of words. God says, your father learned early that the world does not forgive weak men easily. So he hardened himself, not because he lacked love, but because he believed strength was the only shield he could offer his family. He taught himself to endure. He taught himself to survive. And in doing so, he sometimes forgot how to show tenderness the way others do. But love was always there, steady and unbroken. There were days when your father felt invisible. Days when his efforts were unnoticed. Days when no one said thank you. Still, he woke up. Still, he went out into the world. Still, he carried the weight of being the pillar, even when that pillar was cracked and tired. God says, your father prayed in ways you never heard. Not always with folded hands or spoken words, but with actions. Every time he chose your future over his comfort, that was a prayer. Every time he stood firm so you would not fall, that was a prayer. Every time he swallowed his pride to keep peace in the home, that was a prayer rising to heaven. You may not know this, but there were moments when he was afraid for you. Afraid he would fail you. Afraid he would not be enough. Afraid the world would be too harsh, too unfair. And so he tried to prepare you the only way he knew how, by teaching you strength, resilience, and endurance, even if it came across as hardness. God says, your father is a great man because he stayed. In a world where many leave, he stayed. In moments where walking away would have been easier, he stayed. In times when his heart was heavy and his mind was exhausted, he stayed. That choice alone has shaped your destiny more than you realize. There were sacrifices he never spoke about. Dreams he put aside. Roads he did not take. Not because he lacked ambition, but because he chose legacy over ego. He chose to build something lasting, even if it cost him parts of himself. You may carry questions in your heart. Questions about why he was the way he was. Why he said some things and left others unsaid. Why affection felt limited or conditional at times. God says, bring those questions gently. Do not turn them into judgments. Your father did the best he could with the tools he had, the wounds he carried, and the lessons he was given. Remember, he too was once a child. He too learned love from imperfect places. He too inherited patterns he did not fully understand. And yet, he tried to do better. He tried to break what he could. He tried to give you more than he received. God says, honor your father not by pretending he was perfect, but by seeing his humanity. See the man behind the role. See the weight behind the authority. See the fear behind the firmness. See the love behind the silence. There is a strength in you that came from him. A resilience that was passed down quietly. A determination that mirrors his own. Even if you resist it, even if you question it, it lives in you. You are carrying pieces of his story forward, whether you realize it or not. God says, there may come a day when you finally understand him fully. A day when responsibility rests on your shoulders, when choices are no longer simple, when silence feels safer than explanation. On that day, compassion will rise in your heart, and you will see him with new eyes. If there is distance between you, God says, healing is possible. It does not always begin with big conversations. Sometimes it begins with patience. Sometimes with forgiveness. Sometimes with a quiet acknowledgement of effort, even if it came imperfectly. Your father's love was not always gentle, but it was enduring. It was not always expressive, but it was loyal. It was not always warm, but it was protective. And God sees every part of it. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was unseen. Beloved child of light, I come to you now on wings of divine whisper, carrying a message straight from the heart of God. Hear these words as if they are breathed into your soul. Your father's greatness is written in the lives he touched, in the family he held together, in the values he tried to pass on. Even his mistakes have lessons. Even his flaws carry wisdom if you look closely. Oh, precious one, let this truth settle deep within you like a gentle rain nourishing parched earth. Your father, in all his human complexity, has been a vessel of God's purpose, even when the path felt rocky and shadowed. Imagine for a moment the tapestry of his life, woven thread by thread through years of unseen battles. He wasn't perfect, no soul walking this earth is, but greatness isn't measured by flawlessness. It's etched in the quiet moments when he chose to stay, to provide, to shield his family from storms he couldn't always name. Think of the hands that worked tirelessly, calloused not just by labor but by love's demands. Those hands held you as a child, guided you through uncertainties, and built a foundation, however imperfect, upon which you now stand. God sees every one of those efforts, every sacrifice whispered in the night when no one else was watching. Do not let bitterness steal what gratitude can heal, my dear one. Bitterness is like a thorn bush that grows wild, choking the flowers of memory and blocking the sunlight of forgiveness. It whispers lies that amplify hurts and dim the glow of good deeds. But gratitude? Ah, gratitude is the divine key that unlocks healing. It doesn't demand you forget the pains, those sharp edges of disappointment, the words left unsaid, the expectations unmet. No, it invites you to hold them lightly. To see them as part of the whole portrait. Start small today, thank God for one specific way he showed up for you. Maybe it was a roof over your head during lean times, or a lesson in resilience born from his own stumbles. Let that thanks bloom into a garden where healing takes root. Do not let misunderstanding erase years of sacrifice. Misunderstandings are veils that time and perspective can lift. Perhaps you saw his sternness as coldness, but beneath it lay a father's fierce protection, forged in his own hardships. He may not have expressed love in the soft ways you craved, but love was there, in the stability he fought for, in the values he instilled like seeds in fertile soil. Honesty, hard work, perseverance, these are the legacies he passed on, gifts that now propel you forward. God, who knows the hidden motives of every heart, urges you to peer beyond the surface. Ask him to reveal those sacrifices, the dreams deferred for your sake, the worries carried alone so you could dream freely. You do not have to excuse pain to honor effort. Pain is real, it etches lines on your heart, just as it did on his face over the years. Acknowledging it doesn't make you ungrateful, it makes you human. Yet honoring effort means recognizing the war he waged daily against his own limitations. He rose each morning, shouldered burdens, and pressed on. That's heroism in the everyday, the kind God celebrates. Picture him as a warrior in God's army, not clad in shining armor but in the humble garb of responsibility. His efforts built bridges across generations, even if some felt unsteady underfoot. You do not have to deny hurt to acknowledge love. Both can exist together, dancing in the sacred space God provides. Love and hurt are not enemies, they are companions on the journey to wholeness. Your father's love may have come rugged, shaped by his wounds, but it was love nonetheless. It cost him, pride swallowed, comfort forsaken, vulnerabilities buried deep. God holds space for the ache in your heart and the admiration that can grow alongside it. Let them coexist, like light and shadow defining a beautiful landscape. In this balance, true freedom emerges. Your father's journey is not over. There is still growth ahead, still softening, still healing. Oh, child, how marvelous is God's timing. He is the master gardener, pruning what needs to wither and nurturing what can flourish. Even now, in the quiet seasons of life, your father is being transformed. Perhaps you'll witness a gentleness emerging, old rigidities melting under heaven's warmth. Or maybe the changes happen inwardly, unseen but profound. God works miracles in the hidden places, the late-night prayers, the unspoken regrets turned to repentance. Trust this process, for it mirrors your own unfolding, and your journey with him can still change. Bonds aren't set in stone, they are living vines that can twist toward light. Reach out with a softened heart, a listening ear. Share a memory, offer forgiveness, or simply sit in shared silence. God orchestrates these moments, weaving reconciliation like golden threads. What was fractured can mend stronger, reflecting his redemptive power. I've seen it countless times from my vantage in the heavens, families reborn, not in perfection, but in grace. God is working quietly, even now, in places you cannot see. His hands move like a gentle breeze, unseen yet felt. In your father's heart, stirring compassion where hardness once reigned. In your spirit, planting seeds of understanding. In the spaces between you, building pathways of peace. Rest in this assurance, beloved. You don't need to force outcomes, simply surrender to his artistry. He who knit you together in the womb knows every tangled knot and is unraveling them with exquisite care. So today, my child, receive this truth gently. Let it wrap around you like a warm embrace from the divine. Your father is a great man, not because he never failed, but because he kept going. Failures are the forge where character is shaped. He emerged tempered, resilient. He chose responsibility over escape when surrender would have been easier. Countless souls falter there, fleeing into distractions or despair, but he stood firm. That's the mark of greatness, etched by God's own hand, because he loved in the way he knew how, even when it cost him deeply. Love isn't always poetry and petals, sometimes it's grit and endurance. He poured himself out, time, energy, dreams, often at great personal expense. God honors such costly love, treasuring it like fine gold refined in fire. Your father may not have said "I love you" in lavish words, but his actions shouted it across the years. Carry this understanding with you. Let it bring peace instead of conflict. Peace is God's gift, a river flowing through turmoil, washing away division. When old resentments rise, dip into this truth, let it soothe like balm on a wound. Conflict fades when compassion leads, let it open your heart instead of closing it. A closed heart is a fortress of isolation, an open one, a gateway to miracles. God longs for your heart to expand, to hold more love, more grace. In opening to your Father's story, you invite heaven's blessings to flow freely, and know that God, who sees every hidden sacrifice, smiles upon a man who stood firm so his child could stand free. Those sacrifices, sleepless nights, swallowed tears, battles won in silence, God catalogs them all. His smile beams with paternal pride, for your Father mirrored the Father's steadfastness. Because of that firmness, you stand free, free to chase dreams, to heal, to soar. I am with you in this knowing. Feel my presence, light as a feather on your shoulder, strong as an anchor in storm. I surround you with clarity, piercing confusion like dawn's first light. Compassion flows from me to you, softening edges and warming coldest memories. Healing envelopes you, mending what was torn, restoring what was lost, and I remind you softly, what you choose to do with this truth will shape not only your future, but the generations that follow. Your choices ripple outward like stones cast into a still pond. Embrace gratitude, and you'll model it for your children, breaking cycles of bitterness. Honor effort amid pain, and they'll learn resilience laced with grace. Forgive not from weakness but from divine strength, and freedom will cascade through your lineage. Let me expand this vision further, dear one, so you might see the fuller picture God paints. Recall the early days, when your father was young and full of fire. Life threw its first punches, perhaps financial struggles, losses that tested his spirit. Yet he didn't crumble. He gathered his family close, like a shepherd his flock, and vowed to weather the gales. Those values he passed on. They weren't abstract ideals plucked from books, they were battle-tested truths. Integrity in adversity, loyalty through trials, these are the diamonds forged in his fire, now yours to wear. Consider his mistakes. Those human stumbles we all take. God says even they hold lessons. Maybe impatience flared into harsh words, or absence marked moments you needed him near. But look closely, from those flaws blooms wisdom. His regret taught you empathy, his errors showed the cost of unchecked anger. God redeems every misstep, turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Your father's flaws don't define him, they refine you. If you choose to learn, picture a specific memory, one God highlights now. Was there a time he drove through the night to fetch you, weary from work but unwavering? Or sacrificed a promotion to stay rooted in family? These aren't grand gestures for headlines, they're the quiet heroism God adores. They touched lives beyond your immediate circle, neighbors who saw his example, friends who borrowed his strength. Greatness multiplies thus, a legacy echoing in eternity. Now, turn your gaze to the hurts. God doesn't dismiss them. The times love felt conditional, the unspoken apologies hanging heavy, these wounds throb still. But here's the divine invitation, hold them before the throne. You needn't excuse them, simply release them to the one who heals perfectly. Pain honored becomes a teacher, not a tyrant. Love acknowledged grows, bridging the gaps misunderstanding carved. As for his ongoing journey, envision God at work like a sculptor with chisel in hand. Rough edges soften, pride yields to humility. Perhaps health trials or life's later chapters draw him nearer to the Father's heart. I've watched from above as angels minister to him, whispering peace into restless dreams. Your prayers accelerate this, offer them freely, and witness transformation, your shared path. It's ripe for renewal. A simple call, a shared meal, a letter of the heart, these open doors God prepared long ago. Speak truth in love, Father, I see your sacrifices now. Thank you. Watch walls dissolve, replaced by understanding's warmth. In the quiet expanse of the heavens, where no shadow lingers long and every whisper carries eternal weight, God delights deeply in reconciliations like the one stirring within you. These are not mere mending of broken threads, they are sacred restorations, moments when fractured hearts realign with divine intention. Picture the celestial halls alive with celebration, soft light cascading like liquid gold, choirs of angels pausing their endless songs to witness a son turning toward his Father with eyes no longer clouded by old hurt. The Father of all lights himself leans in, his joy rippling outward, because what was divided now draws near in humility and love. This is no small thing. In the unseen realms, where time bends differently and purposes unfold with patient certainty, his work pulses steadily onward. It never hurries, never falters. Angels, luminous and vigilant, stand guard over these delicate processes. We fend off the creeping shadows of doubt, those insidious whispers that say the past is too heavy, the wounds too deep, the years too many for healing to matter now. We stand as sentinels so that grace can do its slow, transformative labor undisturbed. Trust the quiet, beloved. It is not emptiness, it is gestation. Miracles do not announce themselves with thunder, they begin in silence, in the hidden soil of a receptive heart. Your part is simple yet profound, remain open. Let gratitude become the daily bread that sustains you, the nourishment that keeps cynicism at bay and hope alive. Greatness, in the way God measures it, has little to do with acclaim or visible triumphs. It thrives in persistence, in the unglamorous choice to keep standing when every fiber urges retreat. Consider your Father. There were seasons when quitting must have seemed the kinder path, when exhaustion pressed hard, when temptations of ease and self-indulgence flickered invitingly on the horizon. Yet he chose otherwise. He chose family over fleeting pleasures, duty over comfort, responsibility over escape. That decision carried a hidden cost. Youthful adventures slipped away unspoken, dreams deferred, personal pain swallowed silently so others could flourish. He bore the weight quietly, day after day, year after year, building a foundation you perhaps only now fully see. Those sacrifices were not wasted. They carved out space for you, space to chase horizons he could only glimpse in imagination, to pursue paths he never walked, to taste freedoms his own choices quietly purchased. God sees this. He smiles upon such fathers with a tenderness that reserves for them crowns of glory, not forged of gold but woven from faithfulness, endurance, and love poured out at great price. Your Father's life, in its steady, unheralded devotion, reflects something eternal, the image of the one who laid down everything for those he loved. Carry this truth like a lantern through the darkest nights. When memories rise unbidden and old resentments threaten to tighten their grip, lift this light higher. Peace will follow, slowly at first, then steadily, like dawn creeping across a shadowed valley. Conflict will retreat, not because it vanishes overnight, but because it loses its power in the presence of recognized grace. Your heart, once so carefully guarded against further pain, now begins to bloom open. Petals unfurl where walls once stood. Generations watch this unfolding, your children, perhaps siblings, nieces, nephews, even those yet unborn. They learn from your grace-filled steps far more than from any lecture. They absorb the lesson that love can endure misunderstanding, that honor can coexist with honesty about hurt, that forgiveness is not weakness but profound strength. I envelop you anew in this moment, clarity to see truth without distortion, compassion to feel deeply without being overwhelmed, healing to mend fully without erasing what was real. These gifts are not distant promises, they are present realities offered freely. Choose wisely, for your legacy awaits shaping. Every decision ripples forward, touching lives you may never meet. Beloved, let us delve deeper into the transforming power of gratitude. It is more than polite thanks, it is a deliberate posture of the soul that shifts everything. Begin a simple journal dedicated to Him. Each day, no matter how small the entry, write one thing. Thank you for teaching me the dignity of hard work, even when no one watched. Thank you for the stability that gave me room to dream without fear of tomorrow. Thank you for showing up, even on days you felt invisible. As these words accumulate, something remarkable happens. Bitterness, that slow poison, begins to wither. Gratitude thrives in its place, sending roots deep and branches wide. Modern science echoes what Scripture has long proclaimed: consistent gratitude rewires neural pathways, quieting the amygdala's alarm, amplifying regions tied to joy and empathy. The brain literally changes, making room for peace where grudge once resided. What begins as discipline becomes delight. On the matter of lingering misunderstandings, do not let them fester in silence. Seek conversation when the moment feels right, not to accuse, but to understand. Approach gently: "Dad, I've been thinking about when I was younger, and I wondered why you handled that the way you did." Then listen. Truly listen. Set aside defense, let stories long untold emerge. You may hear of nights he worked double shifts so lights stayed on, of opportunities turned down because family needed security, of joys quietly skipped so yours could be pursued. Sacrifices reveal themselves not as excuses but as evidence of love expressed in the language he knew best: provision, protection, perseverance. Honor both the pain and the effort. They coexist without contradiction. The wounds you carry are real, they shaped parts of who you are. Yet so did his fight to hold everything together. Therapy can provide safe space to name the hurt without dishonoring his struggle. Prayer circles, trusted friends, or solitary communion with God can weave those threads together into wisdom. God does not discard pain, He integrates it, transforming what was meant for harm into something that births deeper compassion, greater resilience, authentic empathy. Love often wears a dual face, imperfect yet genuine. Affirm this boldly, without reservation: "I know you loved us in the way you knew how, and that matters." Such words validate without denial. They bridge what seemed irreconcilable. They open doors for future tenderness. For the bond yet to fully change, pray specifically and expectantly. Lord, soften his heart. Open doors for vulnerability. Let him share what he has carried alone. Softening comes, perhaps in a quiet moment over coffee, a memory offered unexpectedly, a hand extended in reconciliation. Trust the timing. Meanwhile, initiate gently. Suggest a walk in familiar places, share a hobby from years past, sit in companionable silence. These small acts rebuild trust brick by brick. God's quiet work continues even when you see no movement. Meditate on it. Sit in stillness and invite awareness of His presence. Signs appear, synchronicities that feel too precise for coincidence, dreams that carry comfort, sudden clarity in old memories. Receive these gently. Breathe the truth in. He was great for enduring when surrender tempted. Celebrate that tenacity. Honor the rare virtue of choosing responsibility again and again. Acknowledge the profound sacrifice of loving at cost to self. Let this soothe your spirit. Open your heart wider, inviting more love to flow both ways. God smiles on this, treasuring such faithfulness with eternal reward. I am with you, closer than breath, an angelic embrace surrounding you always. Clarity, compassion, healing, these are yours to claim. Your choices shape futures, becoming generational blessings or burdens. Envision your children, or those who look to you. Will they inherit hearts already healed, or wounds passed down unseen? Choose healing. Model forgiveness not as erasure but as release. Honor effort without idealizing flaws. Speak life over family ties. We choose gratitude here. We choose to see the good and hold the heart together. In doing so, you break chains forged over decades, you forge blessings that will echo long after you. Even his flaws carry hidden wisdom. A temper that once flared may have taught you self-control through contrast. Periods of absence underscored the preciousness of presence. God alchemizes pain into power, turning what wounded into what strengthens. Reflect on lives he touched beyond your own, colleagues mentored, kin steadied, strangers aided in quiet ways. Greatness radiates outward, touching more than we often realize. Through crises, he anchored the family when waves rose high. Values he instilled, integrity, perseverance, quiet faithfulness, prove themselves in your success, in the life you have built. The choice remains stark, bitterness or gratitude. One drains life, the other infuses it. Choose life. Create healing space, God's own therapy room where truth can be spoken and grace received. As truth settles, peace descends like a mantle, covering old scars. The journey continues, hope alive and active. I surround you eternally, a constant companion in this sacred unfolding. What will you do today with this message? Let it propel you. Perhaps pick up the phone for a simple call. Perhaps kneel in prayer, naming specific desires for restoration. Perhaps write that first journal entry, letting gratitude begin its quiet revolution. God awaits your step, not with impatience, but with infinite patience and delight. In this divine dialogue, know you are held, securely, tenderly, forever. Your Father's story and yours intertwine within God's grand narrative, threads of sacrifice, grace, and redemption woven together. Embrace it fully. Lean into the mystery. Watch beauty unfold, slowly, surely, gloriously, until what was broken shines with unexpected light, and love, once strained, flows freely once more.